He was just out for a morning run. 3 strangers, 1 hateful moment. Now Melbourne's watching as a victim refuses to let this slide. This is the story everyone's talking about, and trust us, it doesn't end the way you'd expect. This is Daily Aussie News. Subscribe now because this story just took a turn that'll shock you. It started like any other Tuesday morning in Melbourne's inner-city suburb of Kensington. The sun was coming up, the streets were quiet, and a local jogger was doing what he'd done 1,000 times before, pounding the pavement with his headphones in. But what should have been a routine morning run turned into something that would shake the community to its core. 3 strangers, minding their own business, were verbally attacked in a homophobic outburst that came out of nowhere. The jogger, whose identity law enforcement is still working to establish, unleashed a tirade of abuse that left all 3 victims shaken and disturbed. But here's where this story gets extraordinary. Instead of disappearing into the crowd, instead of becoming another statistic lost in the Melbourne crime files, one of the victims decided right then and there that this wasn't going to be another case swept under the rug. He wasn't going to let this aggression fade into silence. He became determined, resolute, and absolutely committed to bringing this person to justice. Police immediately launched an investigation, but it was this victim's relentless determination that transformed a hate crime investigation into something much bigger, a public movement. The victim started connecting with community members, sharing information, and refusing to accept that this could just vanish. He understood that by staying vocal, by keeping this in the public eye, he was creating accountability. He was sending a message that hate speech has consequences in Melbourne, that this kind of behavior doesn't get forgotten, and that victims have power when they choose to use it. The jogger, now wanted by Victoria Police, suddenly found himself being hunted not just by law enforcement, but by an entire community that had decided together that enough was enough. The investigation has taken on a life of its own, and the detective work happening behind the scenes is both methodical and urgent. Victoria Police have released descriptions of the suspect, and they are actively seeking information from the public. But what's truly remarkable is the way the victim has transformed himself into an unofficial investigator. He's become the face of this case, giving interviews, appearing on community platforms, and using every resource available to him to help identify and locate the jogger. Social media has become his ally, with community members sharing information, posting theories, and comparing notes about who this person might be. The victim's bravery in stepping forward, in being willing to publicly discuss what happened to him and his companions, has inspired others to come forward with their own experiences. It's created a ripple effect where people who've been victims of hate crimes are finding their voice and their courage. Meanwhile, the jogger remains at large, possibly unaware of just how many people are now looking for him, how systematically the net is closing in. The stakes have escalated beyond what he might have ever imagined. What started as an aggressive verbal assault has ballooned into a manhunt that involves police resources, community vigilance, and the determined victim who refuses to let this go. The investigation has revealed that this isn't the jogger's first incident either. Word is spreading that this behavior might be part of a pattern, that other people may have had run-ins with this individual. Each piece of information brings police closer to making an arrest. The victim continues to be the driving force, pushing for visibility, pushing for accountability, and most importantly, pushing for justice. His actions have transformed what could have been a forgotten moment of hate into something meaningful, a community standing together against intolerance. As days turn into weeks, the pressure continues to mount on the suspect. The combination of official police investigation and community engagement creates an atmosphere where remaining undetected becomes increasingly difficult. The victim's strategy of keeping this case in public consciousness is working. Media outlets are covering it, community groups are discussing it, and the suspect's window of escape is gradually closing. Melbourne's LGBTQ+ community and their allies have rallied around this case, understanding that homophobic violence and verbal assault represent something that needs to be confronted directly. The victim has become something of a community leader through this ordeal, channeling his trauma into action that protects others. He's spoken about the importance of standing up to hate, about not letting fear silence you, and about the power that comes from choosing to fight back rather than accept victimization. His message has resonated deeply with people who've experienced similar discrimination. Counseling services have reported increased support-seeking behavior from people who've been triggered by this incident but found courage in watching the victim's response. The psychological impact of this case extends far beyond the 3 original victims. It's creating conversations about safety in public spaces, about the rise of hate crimes in Australian cities, and about what communities can do to protect their vulnerable members. The police investigation continues with new leads coming in regularly, each tip bringing them closer to identification. The jogger, wherever he is, must be aware by now that he's being looked for intensely. The chance of him simply disappearing and moving forward with his life has become virtually impossible. The attention this case has garnered means that recognition is increasingly likely. Community members are sharing photos, discussing sightings, and providing information that feeds directly into the investigation. The victim has made it clear he won't stop until justice is served, and the community has backed him completely. This case represents a turning point in how Melbourne's community responds to hate crimes and discrimination. It's a stark reminder that victims have agency, that speaking up can create powerful change, and that communities working together can hold perpetrators accountable even when it requires sustained effort. The victim's journey from being attacked to becoming an active investigator has inspired a broader conversation about resilience and justice. Police remain confident that the jogger will be identified and apprehended, given the level of community involvement and the information continuing to flow in. When this arrest finally happens, it will be a moment of vindication not just for the immediate victims, but for everyone who's been hurt by similar incidents and felt like the system wasn't moving fast enough. The case has exposed both the problem and the solution simultaneously. The problem is real. Hate crimes are occurring in our cities, and they can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. The solution is equally real: communities that stand together, victims who refuse silence, and investigative work that doesn't stop until justice is served. This Melbourne jogger case will likely become a reference point for how modern justice can work when citizens take active roles in accountability. The victim's refusal to let this fade away has created something powerful and meaningful. As this investigation continues to unfold, one thing is absolutely certain: the jogger wanted over this homophobic outburst is running out of time and running out of places to hide. The combination of police resources and community determination is relentless, and it's only a matter of time before this case reaches its conclusion. For the victim and his companions, this journey toward justice has been about so much more than just identifying one person. It's been about reclaiming power, supporting their community, and sending a clear message that hate won't be tolerated in Melbourne. That message is stronger today than it's ever been, and it will continue to echo long after this particular case is resolved. This is Daily Aussie News. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest updates on this developing story. The hunt continues, and we'll be here every step of the way keeping you informed. Stay tuned.